the one, the only, Ben Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, just Daf It. Today we're doing Sotah, Daf Ted Zion, number 16. A great share for you today, as always. I had a bagel with cream cheese this morning. Amazing. Makes you wonder how exactly we're supposed to enjoy crackers over Pesach. There's machlokas in the Gemara. The Gemara has machlokas in Abai and Rova. Many places in the Gemara, whether mitzvahs lahanas nitnu or mitzvahs shalol lahanas nitnu. Were the mitzvahs given for our enjoyment, or are they given not to enjoy? Just we do them because we listen to them because that's what God commanded. We don't understand what the mitzvahs, the point of the mitzvahs are. But we do them anyway, and that's the opinion of Rava. We paskin like usually it's Abaye and Machlokes Abaye and Rava. We paskin like. However, there are those that say that Abaye is not pushed away from halacha completely. And in the time of Mashiach, we'll pass like Abaye, much like we'll pass like Beis Shammai over Beis Hillel in the time of Mashiach. And therefore, in the time of Mashiach, we'll understand exactly what the mitzvah of matzah is. It's obviously not crackers, because crackers are not more enjoyable than actual bagels. So it's got to be something else what matzahs really are, even though they tell you and they ingrain in your mind that you have to be paying $45 for a pound of shmura matzah for crackers. $45 for a pound of crackers. I mean, it's highway robbery. We will, in Rosh Hashanah, find out that matzah does not mean crackers. It means something else. But until that day, we eat crackers because we want to keep the Jewish heritage. If you don't keep anything, then the Jewish heritage will fall away. It'll fall out of your blood. Keeping the mitzvahs as we know them now preserves the Jewish heritage inside of you, so that one day, when we do find out how the mitzvahs help us enjoy the world more than anyone else in the world, we'll have the secret of the Torah. But you only have that secret of the Torah to remain Jewish. All right, let's start from the bottom of Ted Vavam and base 15b over here. Yes, I'm a Mets fan, if you were wondering. It's not my room. I have my brother's room. All right. Towards the bottom of Ted Vavam and base, about 8 lines from the bottom, 2 dots. Malcolm Ayashama Amma. The Mishnah says there was a place that was an Amal Amma, a place that was one Amma by one Amma. They would pick it up, they would get some offer. Tana Rabbanan. Umina offer shia. It says you take from the offer that's underneath the ground. Yachal yitakin machutz yachnis. You might think you should get offer dirt from outside and bring it into the heichal. Tamalum bakarka on Mishkan. This is bakarka Mishkan. It's supposed to be there already. If bakarka Mishkan, if the pasuk would say karka Mishkan, yachal yakbar bakardumos. You might think if there was actually no earth over there, you used the earth already. There was no actual earth there. You should dig up to the virgin soil. Tamalum ashiyah. It's only what's there already. Not that you dig more. Haketa yesham. If there is over there, have you use that dirt. Ain't sham. If there's not tain sham, you bring some there and put it there and then take from there. Tanya idach. They're in rice. After shiriyah. The pasuk says he takes from the dirt that's there. He would take from outside and bring inside, and then use that dirt. Bakarka Mishkan. What does that tell me? So this opinion these two opinions will argue on the first price. So Yisman Yehuda Omer Lahavi Karka Shilo give no v'givon obeis alamim. The reason it says Karka is not to tell you really you bring from outside. You don't actually take the earth from inside. You bring from outside because it says Ashayia. The fact it says Karka Mishkan is not to tell me that you take from there, from inside, because you don't take from there, you take from outside, right? So what is a Karka Mishkan? To include other places that it doesn't just apply in the Beis Hamikdash, it applies also when they came into Eretz Yisrael in time of Yeshua, after 14 years of capturing and dividing the land, they erected a Mishkan in Shiloh for about 300 years. Then that was destroyed, then for Nofer, and that was destroyed, then Givon was destroyed, until eventually they built the Beis Hamikdash. In all places, it applies. You don't need it for that. So when it comes to tumakala, right? Going into the azara, when you're tummy, if your body is tummy, you go into the azara. We know the Gemara, this is in other places, not just the base of Migdash, even when Shiloh, Novin, Givon. Also, if you went in the curtains, not Zara, wasn't actual walls, it was curtains, you'd be chayev. So that's Tuma Kala. Tuma Ishas Shi Chamura, right? Adultery is more severe than these things. Lo Kol again, certainly it should be included. MK Matalar Karka Mishkan. So what is Karka Mishkan coming to tell me according to Menachem? Shalo Yavi Mitoch Kupaso. Tell you shouldn't take from your basket. What's your basket? Usually, we have bathrooms, we have toilets, but sometimes people don't have the availability of toilets. So they had a box where they had dirt, and they would go to the bathroom in the box and then cover it with dirt. That afar is obviously disgusting, and that can't be used for the sotah. Iboilu ain't sham afar mahu shitin efer. If there's no offer there, the mahu shitin efer. Let's say there's no dirt. Can you use, instead of dirt, can you use ashes? I'll leave it to Shama, I'll to boil up the Amri Lomatzino, Efer Shikari offer. There's Machlokas with Shama Yisila when it comes to Paraduma. It says you take Ma'afar Sreifa Sachatas. Right? Really, it's the ashes that mix it with water of the burnt Paraduma, the red heifer. But sometimes it says Afar though, it says dirt. Dirt is not ashes. So why does it say dirt? So according to Beisel, to teach you that dirt and the ashes are basically interchangeable. Right? Anytime it says Afar in the Torah, it could include Efer also. According to Beis Shammai, no, it's only there. It says Afar Sreisa Chatas. It defines what type of Afar we're talking about. So that's referring to ashes. But whenever it says Afar or Efer, it doesn't. The two are not included together. The two are not meant to be mixed. When it says Afar, it does not include Efer. So according to Beis Shammai, it's obviously not a question, right? You can't use ashes. So the Gemara says, the questions according to Beisil, the Amri Matzino Efer Shekari Afar. He says, we learn from the Parah Duma that we do find that ashes are interchangeable with dirt, so you could use my Avagav the Ikri Afar Hakav Karka Mishkan. Maybe over here it's more strict. It says Karka Mishkan. Karka, the floor of the Mishkan, there's no ashes at all, so that comes to exclude ashes. Maybe it's the Karka Mishkan is telling me the teaching we just learned in the Brisa, either to include Novin, Givon, and Shila, or to tell you that you shouldn't take Mitoku Paso from the box of feces. All right, Tashma. Let's try to answer the question. The Amar Yocham Mishum Mishmal B'Shoshim Makomos V'Halacha Keves Mikra. 3 times Halacha Mishasinai not basically distorts or tells you otherwise than what is implied by the Torah. What are the 3 examples? Amra ba'afar. It says when you do kisei adam, you shecht a chai, a bird, or a chai, a wild animal. That's kosher. Like a deer, you have to cover the blood. Kisei adam, it's a mitzvah. It says you cover it with afar, with dirt. The Gemara says it doesn't have to be lav dafka. It doesn't have to be dirt. It's an example, right? Hatorah amra bitar. The Torah says that when you shave the Nazir, a Nazir can't cut his hair. Can't cut his hair with a razor. It's entirely Yavel Rosho. He can't cut his hair. But the Sechas Nazir teaches me, you can't use anything, even scissors you can't use to cut your hair. Torah Amra Sefer, Torah says by Gittin, you write on parchment. The halacha b'chol davar, Martin Gittin says, you write it even on the wall, right? Basically anything you give her, the wall's not good. Anything that you can give her, you don't have to write on parchment. You can write it on this cup over here, this beautiful American, hot cup over here. It's fancier than Israel. You can write the get on that and give it to her. The Misa, if this is also true over here, that offer doesn't necessarily mean dirt, it could also mean Efer, Lichshav Nami. Hi. So the rest is Tana V'Shayir. The 3 examples were examples, but there's other examples also. It said some of them, but it left out some of them. So it could be this is included. My Shire, the high Shire. Now, when you leave something out, you have to leave at least 2 things out. To leave one thing out, you should have said it. What is another example of Shire? Mitzorah. On the 7th day, Yigalach es Kol Sa'aro. On the seventh day of his purification process, you shave his entire body. Klal, right? That includes everything, any hair on his body. Es Rosho, Ves Zikno, Ves Gabos. Then the Torah details parts of his body, the hair on his head, his beard, his eyebrows, prat. That's example. That's kol sari. Let it go. Because this is a general term, and all his hair you have to shave off. Chazar of klal, color part of klal. It has to be. So therefore, you have a famous rule: klal part of klal. You basically everything's included as long as it's similar to the prat, to the specific. And what does that tell me? It has to be something where a place where hair grows and gathers together, and it can be seen. So the only places you shave, well, there's a hair of growth, where there's a growth of hair together, and also it can be seen. Ma Rabbi, what does it include? Rabbi say raglayim. Talking about pubic hair. Pubic hair grows, in one growth over there, gathers together, and it can be seen if you take off your clothes. My miyat the beis hashachi or the kulei gufa, the rest of the hair on your arms and legs, even though the beis hashachi, even though it grows in a group of hair in your armpits, so normally you don't see it, it's covered by your arms, and the hair on your arms and legs or anywhere else on your body, doesn't gather into one place, it just grows independently. Ma Rabbi said, okay, sorry. The hilchasa. However, the halacha is malech gedalas. However, even though it says specifically only shave those parts of your body, right? Kinasar and nira. However, the halacha Moshe is you shave him like a gourd. Basically, take off all his hair on every part of his body. This not. How do you know that? Balalahakiv Mishnah Misachas Nagayim says Balalahakiv Esam Mitzorah Mavir Hatar Al Kol B'Sar. You take the razor on his whole flesh. Regarding Seifa, that's stuck at the first shaving. There's two shavings after, right? After he becomes cleansed. The lesions go down, you shave him once, then you wait another 7 days and you shave him again. So the first time you shave him, right? And the next Mishnah says the second shaving is like the first shaving, exactly the way you did the first shaving, which the Mishnah said is complete shaving. The second shaving also. And however, in regards to the second shaving, which the Torah we just talked about, we have a color part of klal, only certain hair is taken off. But however, the de facto law is that you take off all the hair. So obviously, it tells you that the pasuk is lav dafka. The halacha mashina is okevet, right? It basically works around what the Torah says. Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchak kika chashav halacha okeves mikra ha okeves midrabanan mikra. Right? When we said examples, the halacha mashina it subverts, goes around what the Torah says. It's only talking about something which is explicit in the Torah. But this is not explicit in the Torah. This is a drush in the Torah. I'm explaining it how the article is explaining it. I will give you my own explanation in Ian with Ben Sion. So that's what it's different over here. Rav Papa gives a different answer. Right? The other three examples where the Torah went around, it says sefer, right? Only parchment. It tells you anything. So it's basically telling you the Torah says the example is not an example. Really, everything is good, right? Here, it's basically, it doesn't really distort what the Torah is saying. It's just adding on a little bit, right? Basically, everything's supposed to be shaved except for your armpits and the hair on your arms and legs. Torah's adding a little bit. When it says offer, right, for the Kisei Adam, it tells only dirt. It's adding everything, so that's really changing it very much. So this is not included. This brisa, which says only 3 cases, who is the follower of Bishmali? The Darish Klali Prati, right? He darshans Klal Prat. Kidalas, however, the Mishnah Mesachas Nagoyim, top of Tezan is Mani Rabbi Akiva. The Darish Ribuya Mute. There's different authors, right? According to Rabbi Shmuel, the truth is the second shaving of the Torah really only is like the Prat. Only is Makom Kinusar Venira. You don't actually shave him entirely. The Mishnah Nagoyim is a different opinion. That's the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Argues on Rabbi Shmuel. He darshans the Torah Ribuya Miyat. The Sanya Mashavi. How does he darshan the pasuk? On the 7th day, Galachas Kol Saro Riba. That includes everything. As Rosh of Zikna as Gabosena, which is specific. Miyat tells you to exclude something. Ves Kol Sari Galea Chazav Riba comes to include everything. Riba or Miyat Riba. Riba Hakol. When you do Riba or Riba, you darshan a little differently. and therefore you include everything. However, you exclude one thing, my miyet, my riba the kule gufa, his entire body. My miyet sarj b'davachotam. The only thing that excludes, according to Rabbi Akiva, is have hair in your nose. If you have hair in your nose, that you don't have to shave off, but your entire body does. That Mishnah is the Mishnah. That's not halacha kevis as I'm making. According to Rabbi Akiva, basically you shave. The Torah says you shave the whole body, and that's what the Mishnah says. You shave the whole body. According to Rabbi Shmuel, you don't shave the whole body. You only shave Malcolm Kina Star Venera. So fundamental machlokas by Mitzvah. We're not going to get into that over here. My Haviola. What's the halacha? Can you use ashes or not for the Sotah? Tashmad Amar of Huna Barashi Amar of Ein Sham Afar Mevi Rukvuvis Yerek Umekadesh. You have no dirt over there. You can take a disintegrated vegetable that's become disgusting and use that instead. Velohi, the Gemara says, it's not an inference, not a proof. Rukvuvis Yerek Udahave Afar. That's similar to dirt. Afer lo havi afar, but according to Beis Hillel, not necessarily, maybe only over there, afer is not necessarily considered afar. Ashes are very different than dirt. Basically, dirt is a decomposition of basically whatever it was there. It's composed of different types of rocks and minerals and stuff like that, which used to be a solid clump of earth that got disintegrated, just like a vegetable gets disintegrated. Afer specifically comes from which is burnt, so therefore they're very different. Seems to be the maskan of the Gemara that you cannot use ashes for Sotah. So you're supposed to put dirt in there. The Mishnah says that it should be seen in the water. Tana Rabbana. The three places in the Torah where something placed in water has to be able to be seen. Afar Sotah, the dirt of the Sotah. The Afer Para, when you mix together ashes of the Para Duma with the water, you have to be able to see the ashes. Veroki Vama. Right? In Yibam, learn Vamos, when Chalitza happens, basically she spits, the woman spits. It has to be a spit that the Gemara says that the Dayanim can see. Mishur Mishmal Amru Af Dam Sipor. Even by a Mitzorah, the beginning of the purification of the Mitzorah, you take two birds, you shecht one, you put the blood in one of them with water, and you sprinkle on the Mitzorah. The other bird you let go free. That blood has to be seen in the water. My time with the Rishmal. What's the opinion of Rishmal? What is his opinion based on? You have to see the blood. The Chsiv, the Tavalo Sam Adamat Sipor. It says you should dip them, which is talking about the cedar wood, the hyssop, right? Eitz eres ve'ezo v'shnito las, and the scarlet fabric. You have to dip it into the blood of the Sipor. Vitanya Badam. It says in the Torah, blood, Yachal Badam, V'lo. You might think only dip in the blood and not in the water. It says also you should dip in the water. If it was just, it would have said water, I would have thought water and not blood. Therefore it says both. How is that? Maybe Mayim Shadam Sipor Nikar Behan. Both are important. You have to bring water and put the blood in the water at the point that the blood is still recognizable in the water. And then dip all those things in there. The Kama. How much logistically is that? Revias of water. If you have revias of water, basically that's enough that the blood of, we'll see, a Sipor drawer, that's the bird you use for the Mitzorah, its blood is discernible in that water. The Rabbanan, what are the Rabbanan who are arguing Rav Shmuel? They don't say that the blood has to be recognized on Mitzorah. What do they do with the pasuk? The reason it says Dam and Mayim is to teach you something obvious over there. To tell you that when you dip it in, it doesn't have to be the blood is recognizable in the water. It could be it's very faint, it's not recognizable in the water. But there should be both over there. You should dip it in the blood in the water. It said we talked about blood and we talked about water, and so you should dip it in them. Why does it have to mention again blood and water? It must be talking. It has to be each of them have to be recognizable. The blood has to be recognizable in the water. Rabbanon. What do they do with that? That proof. Because Rahman of a Tavel Bahem. It would just say Tavel. First you dip in the water and then you dip in the blood separately. Because Rahman of a Dam. Arvan. Tell you have to mix them, but it doesn't have to be discernible. Rabbi Shmuel Arvan. Rabbi Shmuel doesn't say that. Arvan Krach Harinaksiv. The fact that I would know that you have to mix them, I know from a different pasuk. The Shachar Asibor Achas. You shacht one bird, right, into the water, right. So, and that pasuk's talking about, obviously, it's talking about you have a vial of water and you're shachting the blood, you're shachting the bird over the water. So obviously they're going to mix together. So obviously they're together, not separately. And therefore, dam of mayim tells me the dam has to be recognizable in the water. Rabbana, what do they say? If it's just from that pasuk, you're supposed to shecht the bird over the water, I would have said you shecht it over the water. If you didn't continue to read it, however, you press on the veins in the neck of the bird, and the blood shouldn't come out. And then put the blood in a separate vial and dip it separately in the water and separately in the blood. Kamashman. Therefore, it teaches you, right, that you mix them together. But there's no extra possible to teach me that it has to be discernible. Let's say you have so much blood in the bird by the Sotah that it actually consumes the entire water. You don't recognize water at all. Or you have a very small bird and the water is, according to Rishmal, and the blood is not recognizable in the water. What do you do? Amrullah said back to him, why are you going out of the parameters of halacha? The seaport drawer, remember we're talking about a regular seaport drawer, which is a bird that flies freely. I would say like a pigeon or something like that, or a dove or something like that. They fly around freely. Right? Those are not that big, not that small, these birds. You don't have, there's never a pigeon or a dove that's big enough, right, that it'll completely consume the water. There's not someone that small that the blood won't be recognizable in the water. Back to Sotah. Hikdim afar l'mayim pasal. Rabbi Shimon Machshir. He's supposed to take water, put it in a vial, and then put the dirt in there. What if you put the dirt first and then you put the water? Is that okay? So according to the Rabbanan, it's possible. Rabbi Shimon says it's okay. My time with the Rabbi Shimon. What's the reason of Rabbi Shimon? You take from the Tameh. This is talking about paraduma. Vasanya, Rabbi Shimon like we mentioned before. It should have said afer, ashes. Afaru, valo afaru. It's really ashes. You burnt it. Shina kasav mashma. Why did the Torah change its language? To tell you, teach you Gzera Shava. Nemar kan afar v'nemar lahalan afar. It says here by paraduma afar, and it says also by Sotah afar. Malahalan. Just like a paraduma, really you're supposed to put the ashes on top of the water. Here also you're supposed to put the dirt on top of the water. However, another part of this Gerashah teaches, just like over there by the paraduma, if you put the afer in first, then you put the water mayim chaim in, it's kosher b'di'eved. Here also it's kosher b'di'eved. And how do you know by paraduma it's kosher? You put the ashes in first. Trade cry ksiv. There's two psukim over there. Ksiv olav alma efer bereisha. You should put on the water. One person says on the water. Sorry. He says you put the water olav on the ashes. It sounds like first you put the ashes in and then put the water. Ksiv mayim chaim el keli. Alma mayim bereisha. Mayim chaim el keli means natural water from a spring. Al Keli directly into the kli. There's nothing interposing between it. Oh my! So you see, really, the pasuk seems to indicate that you're supposed to put the water in the vial first. Haketz and therefore you see the Torah is telling you it's optional. You can do whichever one you want. For either you put the ashes in first, or you can put the water in first. And therefore we can learn from there to over here because of the word afar. Rabbanan el kli dafka. What do they do with two psukim? The pasuk that says El Kli, Mayim Chaim El Keli, tell you the water goes first. That's really what has to be done. Olive, why do you say olive? It doesn't mean that you can put the afer in first, the ashes in first. La'arvan, it just tells me that you have to mix them. Even after you put the water in and then you put the ashes, you have to mix them together before you sprinkle it. The Ema olive dafka. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe olive means dafka. Specifically, you're supposed to put the ashes in first, then the water. El Keli shtei chiyusan b'kli. Right? El Keli, Mayim Chaim El Keli, to tell me that it can't be used. The spring water has to go directly into the vial. It can't be put in a different kli before. So the Gemara says, no, they're different. The Rabbanan say differently. The reason over here, hold on 1 second. The reason over here is the Rabbanan would say the machshir lamala, right? When it comes to a metzora, for example, right? The dam, the blood, right? That's what the blood is. The important thing. It's the thing which makes him tar, right? That the Torah always talks about that. So when you have metzora, first put the water and put the blood. Here also by Sotah, the thing which is testing her is really the dirt, right? The dirt is more important than the water because the dirt symbolizes really her action. She acted like an animal, which covered itself in the dirt. So therefore, in Svarin, logically, it makes sense, like the Rabbanan say, that the Afar has to be on top over here also. So that's basically the reason that it's ma'akev. The offer has to first put the water in and then the dirt. Reb Shimon says, really, basically, even though he says the evidence works, it seems like the Gzeira Shava, it's optional. You can put the dirt in first, you can put the water in first. That's the conclusion of today's share. Stay tuned for Ian Ben Sion where I talk about this concept of halacha okeves es hamikra. A very interesting concept. Halacha Meshusina can basically tell you that what the Torah said is not true. Why would the Torah write it in a way that's not true? The Torah says one thing, the Meshusina tells me something else. Try to explain one of the answers in the Gemara. The Gemara says the Rabbana, it's not true. We'll talk about that Ian Ben Sion coming up next.